What's up, everybody? I'm meteorologist Andrew Myers, back to bring you guys some live coverage here. We actually have a severe storm moving into Des Moines, Iowa right now. We got some storm initiation going up across the upper and central Mississippi Valley, so we're going to cover all that, but mainly focusing on this Des Moines storm for Chicago. Things look like they're going to kind of cluster up and head your way into the early overnight hours, so stay tuned for later today. But we do have confirmed golf balls being reported on this storm. Right now, I'm guessing that these two reports here are probably going to be, some golf balls being reported along I-80 here. And then, it's been tracking eastward. This one went up really quick, guys. We kind of, breaking car windshields, geez. Yeah, so I mean, it's moving. It's moving through a populated area right now. Can we go ahead and just zoom right in on where the roads are so we can kind of give a scope of what things are doing right now, Justin? So, like I said, this one went up super fast. It went from pretty much 0 to 100. We just saw that there was a storm in Des Moines, and then moments later, it's dropping golf balls. So, I don't know if we can clear the little updraft marker off the thing, but I just kind of want to see what the local roads are doing here. But it looks like it's right in between Ashworth Road and University Boulevard. University Ave here is where the hail's falling, just along I-235 here. So again, this brightening in our reflectivity here, that's going to be where that hail core on that storm is. And like I said, it went up really quick, guys. So let's zoom back out, take a look at the shape of this storm as it's moving into the Des Moines metro area, again, along I-235. So can we get some correlation coefficient on this storm and just take a look again at where those golf balls are likely to be falling? I don't know, do you know if you can take that off, Justin? Because it's like it's kind of messing up the groove here. But the hail core is going to be right behind this low cloud producing the hail core, so that's where at least quarters to half dollars are going to be falling on the outer edge of that. And then right in the central part of the storm where we see, again, that higher reflectivity, that's likely to be where those golf balls are. We may just have to wait on the next radar update to see that more clearly on correlation coefficient as it tracks eastward. But then in terms of reflectivity, I mean, you do see an isolated self-forming. Now, if it overruns this one out ahead of it, I mean, we could get some weakening. However, if these stay separate, it's likely that this hail core will continue as it continues to move off to the east. And there it goes, popping out just a little bit further to the right of our, updraft indicator there. So again, there's that hail core for you guys. It looks like it's tracking just clear along I-235, and there you go. There you can see right there. The radar is pushing those correlation coefficients farther out than it's like off-centering them from the hail core on that storm. But again, you can see quarters to half dollars, and then the central part of that is going to be where those ping pong to golf ball sized hailstones are falling with this storm. And it looks like we've got a train of supercells forming, so we could get some hail forming on the other two as we continue to watch this situation develop. We'll have to see what those do, but right now this is the main game in town. Looks like we got another LSR report that came in. It's probably just going to be a string of them as we move dime to golf ball sized hail, which makes sense. Looks like it's a good mix of hailstones based on that, yellow reflectivity or yellow correlation coefficient. Usually when you see a high concentration of those bright greens, that's when you're really starting to get a lot of that larger hail, but my guess is it's probably a pretty good mix here. So yeah, looks like ping pong ball sized hail at the local news station. So, pretty consistent amount of reports of larger hail with this storm, although it looks like it's probably going to be a good mix. And once we get some photos, we'll show you guys what all that looks like. But let's go ahead and roll it back because I want to kind of talk again about the development of this storm. It was really quick, guys. We might not have radar data all the way far back, but I mean, if we go,
it doesn't look like it.
Yeah, just go ahead. Just again, it blew up over I-235, I think, moving into Des Moines. And now it looks like it's kind of starting to taper off once it gets into the city. Again, if it overruns this storm, that's going to be pretty key here. But as we watch it go the next couple of frames, we're seeing it maintain that hail core. We'll see what it can do once it gets into Des Moines. But again, no lack of reports coming out of this, so there's definitely still severe hail being produced on this one. And let's see, moving east at 35 miles an hour. again, into Des Moines metro area. And then off behind it, it looks like the storm just to the west of that is also now starting to produce a little bit of hail, probably sub-severe at the moment, but we'll see if it can intensify like its predecessor here as it continues into more population. So train of supercells forming here into Des Moines. And if we look at the rest of the area, we've got, again, continued storm development happening through Iowa. There were some cells in Nebraska. Everything's just kind of been going up at once, lighting up like a Christmas tree across a lot of Iowa and Nebraska right now. We'll see how much intensity we can get out of these storms as they continue to develop over the coming hours. But again, right now, the main storm that's, producing severe hail in population is going to be through the Des Moines metro area. Again, golf ball sized stones being reported. If you guys see anything, if you're from Des Moines, drop it in the comments. Just let us know if you can safely see what's happening outside. Let us know. But right now, again, lots of reports from people of ping pong to golf ball sized stones. Looks like these two are starting to kind of run into each other, so not too worried about those at the moment, and they're also moving out of population, but it's these two storms now, the one moving into Des Moines actively that has had a history of severe hail reports, as well as the one behind it that could be getting ready to go severe in the coming moments. We're starting to see that correlation coefficient drop, as well as some brightened reflectivity. For those of y'all that don't know, correlation coefficient is just showing you how similar the particles in the atmosphere are. So if it's all raindrops that are about the same size, it's going to be just uniform and it's going to look pretty red. But once you get to see things that are starting to be different shapes and different sizes, that's when you see the correlation coefficients brighten up and turn into yellows, greens, blue. A lot of the time, hail is a good it shows up well on correlation coefficient as those brighter colors, and that's what we're seeing here today. So 1.5 to 2 inch hail now in Clive being reported. So it looks like this sucker really went up quick as it hit Urbandale. Can we go over that area if we go back to where that 2 inch report occurred at 2:40? So it looks like that was about 15 minutes ago-ish. So I'm guessing that's right when that bright reflectivity band showed up. Can we back it up a couple frames? Yeah, okay, so there we go, 241. This report came in at 240. So you can see that hail core really clearly over Urbandale right there. Again, super bright correlation coefficients. They're pretty uniform, and it sounds like we are getting a mix of hail between small and large. But again, now up to 2 inch stones with this first storm that's tracked over West Des Moines and Urbandale and is now making its way into Des Moines proper. So that was at 241. Once we track off to the east, we're starting to see we started to see the hail core kind of dissipate a little bit, but with this latest frame, it looks like it's starting to ramp back up again right as it heads into the Des Moines metro area. Could be smaller hail that it's dropping, not seeing a ton of bright values on our correlation coefficients, so it could be dropping a lot of hail, but some smaller hail. So again, we'll have to see what comes out of that with reports as we continue this way off to the east. But right now, again, it does look like it's trying to get itself back together. If we look at our algorithm marker or our updraft marker, we can see how much of an updraft we have on this storm. So, I mean, it looks, although that looks like it's different now a little bit.
Yeah, the hail side's gone down some.
Yeah, oh, okay, yeah. 1.89. So, okay, if it's going down, not super good of a sign for continued development of the storm, but it looks like it's trying, so we'll see what the next couple of frames get. And once again, moving east at 35 miles an hour. Can we get a storm track going on this so we can talk about who's going to be impacted and who is going to be seeing what in the coming hours here, or the coming minutes, I guess?
Let me queue up the warning, see what it's moving.
Yeah.
All
right.
Moving east at 15. All right,
Sweet.
cool.
And now they've upped the warning for a maximum of 2 inch hailstones with this. So east at 15, I mean, we've seen that. It was here when we started. It's barely moved. It's still kind of slowly chugging towards Des Moines, so it's not moving very fast, guys. You're probably going to have pretty long hail times on this if you do make it into the core. So it looks like 3:08 p.m. is when it's projected to get into Des Moines proper, then 3:23 in East Des Moines. So again, it's really taken its time as it tracks off to the east. But if you guys are in this cone, just know the severe storm is headed your way. It looks like it is dropping hail right now. We're going to have to see if those CCs can drop a little bit lower and it goes back into severe mode, but it did have a history of producing up to 2-inch hail, so definitely not a storm to underestimate right now as it continues its way towards Des Moines. So again, if you guys are in the hail core right now, taking a look at reflectivity, again, it's got a hail core, it's dropping some hail, and if we take a look at correlation coefficient, it has been producing, again, some severe hail. Looks like it's starting to taper off a little bit, but you guys are probably hearing a pretty loud thunderstorm tracking over you, and it's probably going to be like that for a little while. I wouldn't be surprised if you guys are getting thunder, lightning. Is this producing any wind? Now that, you know, wind is a factor. Looks like it's not doing anything crazy in terms of wind. If we query a couple of those values, I'm guessing what it's going to be like 20s and 30s there. If we drop a couple of queries around the cell just to the west of Des Moines, yeah, 21 miles an hour. Yeah, so it's not doing anything crazy in terms of wind, but you could get, you know, some sideways rain. Probably not going to blow around that hail too much, which is positive. And then, you know, again, hail is going to be the primary threat on this cell. This cell to the west of Waukee looks like it's not doing anything crazy now. It was trying to pull itself together, but the thing is, it's in the wake of this first storm. This first storm is going to be using all of that heat, all of that instability, all of that energy to try to get that updraft and to drop that hail, and it's going to use it all up, and then this one behind it, if it has enough recovery time, it could try to produce some hail as well, but now it's kind of in that second-hand, hand-me-down atmosphere that's being left by this first storm in front of it. So we'll see what this can do to try to pull itself together, but this Des Moines storm is still going in terms of severe hail into this afternoon. So looking off to the east, looks like we've got another cell that's trying to form to the east of Des Moines. Everything, like I said, is going up all at once. You got all sorts of stuff happening off to the west of the metro area, as well as Nebraska, and it's going to move to the south and west towards Kansas over the next few hours. But Justin, what are you doing?
What?
I keep blinking on and off. No, you're good. It's going to keep developing off to the south and west over the coming hours, and as that happens, we could see more intense storms forming that are similar to the Des Moines one. It's probably going to be quick in terms of how long that severe hail can last if we continue to see storm modes like this, where we get storm after storm after storm, but we could still see some pretty intense hail with those initial updrafts that are occurring. Again, this one, if you guys are tuning in just now, had a history of up to 2-inch stones through the western end of Des Moines. Now it looks like that hail reflectivity core is starting to kind of taper off a little bit, go down in those reflectivity values. Correlation coefficient values are staying about the same. So my guess is now it's not really producing anything upwards of ping pong balls. We could see what this produces as it tracks into Des Moines, but it looks like the large hail for now is starting to kind of taper off. Then same with the Waukee storm, not looking like that's doing any severe hail as it tracks through, but hail nonetheless, and we're going to keep you guys updated until this is in and out of the Des Moines metro area. So if you guys are between Forest Ave and, well, if you guys are kind of on the intersection of Forest Ave and it looks like that's Fleur Drive, then you guys are pretty much in the thick of the hail core right now. In the central part where we see those highest reflectivity values, that's where you're going to get probably our largest hail. Ah, nice. Okay, cool.
Figured it out.
So along Grand Avenue and Fleur Drive, there you go, that's where the largest hail values are likely going to be. So you're probably hearing some like thumps on your roof and, you know, hearing lots of heavy rain, thunder, lightning, but fortunately the wind is kind of minimal with this storm moving into Des Moines. It looks like it's only got a frame or two until it hits the metro proper, and it's trying to maintain that intensity as it moves through. It's pretty much tracked directly along 235, so if you guys are anywhere in that corridor, probably either had a long period of some loud hail or are about to. It looks like the area near University Ave and, let's see, Foreston Ave, maybe, is probably where it got hit hardest with that 2-inch, that ping pong golf ball 2-inch size range of that hail. And then, you know, as it's tracking off to the east further, it's starting to kind of wind down in size, but it's trying to maintain itself moving into Des Moines. So tracking back out, looks like we haven't gotten any more updates in terms of ground reports from spotters. I don't know if we've seen anything on radar scope or any pictures that we can talk about.
Yeah, I'm trying to find. I think John's been posting them in the chat.
Okay, nice. What's it look like?
There's a lot of hail.
Okay, cool. So high volumes, it looks like.
Yeah, definitely.
And you know, one of those reports did say P's up to golf ball sized hail. So again, thinking there's a good mix in there, especially based on our correlation coefficient values that we have here. Looking like there's going to be a large range in hail sizes with this, but some big stones have definitely fallen with this storm. And again, that's something we should be aware of as we move into Des Moines. The large hail history, and then again, you're going to have a super large variation in hail sizes with the main hail core of this cell.
There's some impings of quarters.
Impings of quarters moving into Des Moines?
Yeah, it's definitely closer to downtown.
That checks out. I mean, wait, you said it's closer to downtown than like what this shows?
No, it's closer to downtown than these reports over here to the west. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, well, we'll see those come in a minute. But yeah, looking like quarters through town, which makes sense. I mean, you're seeing those yellow correlation coefficient drops and just a small area of bright reflectivity. So those quarters are, again, probably along Grand Ave and Floor, that intersection there. But that will put it, if it continues to track east, that will put it right on the south end of Des Moines, tracking eastward into the area. Can we back out a little bit and take a look at the other storms until we get another radar update, just so we can see if they're doing anything? Okay, yeah, still not worried about those. I'm watching this one closely, depending if it can, you know, kind of recover from the cooler air that the first storm left behind it. But there you go. I mean, we were seeing clear skies at noon for that forecast, and now there's all sorts of clusters developing. Looks like just to the south of Omaha, got a severe storm just near Lincoln, Nebraska. We've got a severe storm heading that way. Fortunately, those look like they're just off to the west. But if they're tracking east, can we see? It looks like they're tracking to the south and east, but can we go ahead and query the warning? Yeah, so for quarters, which, you know, you got a couple little hail cores on the north and southern end of that storm. I don't know if it's splitting.
It actually does not give it direction. It says nearly stationary.
Okay, can we watch it? Can we roll it back and forth a couple times? Because it looks like it might, just based on that one frame, it looks like it might be splitting apart, but we haven't been watching it to know.
I've never seen a warning say that.
Yeah, I've never seen that either. It's kind of wild. Yeah, it looks like the storm is trying to split. You can watch the two cells kind of start to separate. Doesn't look too good now on that latest frame, but yeah, if this first storm starts to head into Milford, we could see that north split continue to track off eastward, and then Lincoln could have something to talk about, but right now it looks like it's nothing of crazy concern. But since we did get a radar update, I do want to see that Des Moines storm once again, see if that hail core has made its way into the metro area, and if it looks like it's intensified, stayed the same, or if it's tapering off. Can we zoom in one more? Oh, yeah, that doesn't look too promising in terms of hail.
To the radar.
Try panning it farther to the east. Okay.
Oh, wow, it switched to the wrong one.
It'll get there eventually.
So weird.
Well, there it is. I mean, I think we're looking at this pretty high up. You know, this switches from radars, and depending on the height of the beam, you're going to see the storm differently. If you're seeing the very top of the storm, you're not going to get to see that hail core. You know, if you're looking right at the middle, then you'll see those bright pink reflectivities, and if you're looking underneath the storm, which happens sometimes, you won't see anything at all. Looks like right now we're looking pretty high up on the storm, so it's pretty hard to see those hail cores from that radar. Justin's trying to pan around and get it to switch to the Des Moines radar. But if not, then we'll just have to see what it looks like on radar scope and try to circle back to it and get it to jump back to the Des Moines radar. See what happens there.
So weird.
It happens.
Looks like they just issued a severe thunderstorm watch.
Oh, nice. Can we query that? Looks like all of Cedar Rapids area between Highway 80 here and Cedar Rapids, that whole area is in a severe thunderstorm watch all the way down to just to the north and east of Kirksville, Iowa. So, I mean, what's it for?
Doesn't say yet. Just good
informative.
cities. Yeah.
Nice. Well, if you guys are in Cedar Rapids, Coralville, Iowa City, or Marion, just know you're in a severe thunderstorm watch. These storms do have a history of producing severe hail and are likely to start producing gusty winds as they track eastward and kind of band up. We're going to see, less of that singular hail structure, which is already happening with these. We kind of knew there would be quick, severe hail times on them. And, as they continue to band up and track eastward, we'll see more of a wind threat. So it's pretty much 50-50 for you guys in the Cedar Rapids area. Could see some severe hail, could see some severe wind into today and tonight. I really just want to kind of keep hanging around until this Des Moines storm is moved out of the area and we can kind of see what went on and we can show you guys some pictures. So we're just going to keep kind of learning about what's going on here. But did they update the warning? Is that a new one?
Yeah, it's a new one.
Okay, well, I guess at 3:45, I could have read that. Colfax, Newton, Prairie City, and Sully are now in that severe thunderstorm warning. 1.25, so it's looking like $0.50 now, and we just did get a new severe thunderstorm watch issued for the whole area of Des Moines now as well, with those pink layers. So I wonder if that's going to tell us what they've issued it for. We're going to have to kind of wait for that to load up. This is all developing so quickly that, it's hard for even technology to keep up sometimes. So this whole situation went, again, from pretty much 0 to 100. About an hour ago, there were no warnings to speak of, and now we got Des Moines under 2 severe thunderstorm warnings. The Lincoln area's got a couple. I-29 along the Iowa and Nebraska corridor's got one, and we've got more isolated cells to come in the next few hours, but looks like there's probably not any further information on that severe thunderstorm watch right now, so we'll keep you guys updated on that.
Again.
Oh. Yeah, so again, now it's Ankeny, Des Moines, Waterloo, West Des Moines, as well as Cedar Rapids, so quite a few population areas under the severe thunderstorm watch. Over 911,000 people are now in this watch. So again, if any of these isolated cells track over you, they have a tendency to, or they have the potential to be pretty nasty, but it should be for a quick period of time that you get those severe hail conditions. Now, for the time of day, or the length of time that the storm lingers over you, that's another story. You might get to see the whole development of the storm because they are slow movers right now. You might see it go from some thunder to some nasty hail, and then the storm goes away, and it all happened like right over you. So got some long hail times with this, but again, it should be a pretty quick turnaround in terms of how long that severe hail lasts. Looks like the Waukee storm is really trying to get itself going as it tracks eastward. It hasn't really been successful so far. Not expecting it to do much. If it did, it would be an overperformer behind this first storm that's leaving that rain-cooled air behind it. But we'll keep watching. And then Des Moines doesn't look too promising at this point, but we are looking pretty high up on our radar beam, so we'll have to see what happens once it gets through the city here.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at it on radar scope.
Yeah.
Wait a second. This shows it as a tornado watch.
Huh. Our tornado watches are usually in yellow, but maybe they issued both.
That's really weird.
I don't know.
Yeah. What?
Anyway, we show severe thunderstorm watch. So far, there hasn't been rotation on these storms, but it could be possible with any of those isolated cells that really get going. We'll watch it and we'll keep you guys updated, but right now we're showing a severe thunderstorm watch on our Iowa radar here. So again, we've had this history of these 4 cells moving through Des Moines. This first one's pretty much in the metro area right now, trying to slowly make its way out, but it's dissipating as it does. So my guess is it's no longer producing that severe hail since we were seeing it weakening as it moved in. Justin's got us watching on radar scope so we can get those quick updates in terms of when we get those ground reports, but they'll show up here if we do get any, and we'll keep you guys updated on those. And then for the rest of the risk area, looks like we are seeing storms start to go up pretty quick once again, but once they lose that supercell structure, then it starts to change. This one near Waterloo is interesting to me. I think Waterloo is somewhat populated in Iowa. I'm not an Iowan, so I am not confident in that statement, but I think it is, and it's definitely producing some hail there, just to the south of Wellsburg and just to the west of Grundy Center. Can we get some CCs on that? It looks like we got even like a little baby spike on it. with some hail. So yeah, there you go. Quarters to $half at least on the outer edge of that. Maybe even some ping pong balls once we get out to the center of the storm. Justin just circled the radar spike. So, you know, when you get that super highly reflective substance that the radar beam is bouncing off of, sometimes it causes the radar to spike, and that's a really good indicator that hail is falling in that storm. Okay, sweet. Waterloo, heavy population. So yeah, we're going to want to watch this as it tracks that way. Looks like it's starting to get going pretty quickly, and there's nothing out in front of it right now, so it does have the potential to intensify as it continues that way unless something pops up and cuts it off before it gets to Waterloo. So we're watching this. Grundy Center, Holland, Steamboat Rock, and Wellsburg. You guys are in this severe thunderstorm warning, and you know right now they're warning it for $half. But again, it looks like it could be intensifying a little bit, maybe some ping pong balls mixing in there now as it continues to track south of I-20. And we've kind of seen this in our peripherals for the past few minutes here. It's been taking its time going up like a lot of these storms have. They're slow movers. I don't know if you were able to see on the warning how quickly it's moving, but at least for Des Moines, that one was moving like 35 miles an hour. Can you see how fast this one's going, Justin?
Yeah, this one's moving east at 20.
East at 20. Yeah, so they're not quick fellas. They're not quick as they're moving into Waterloo. So it'll take it a minute if it wants to get out that way. Whoops. But yeah, are you trying to get a storm track on it? There, nice. Yeah. Okay, so 343, Holland. So if you guys are in Holland, you guys are in the storm track of this storm right now, and it does look like it's pretty much tracking due east right towards you, Holland. So again, it might thread the needle right in between Wellsburg and Grundy Center. We'll keep an eye on that one as well. Are we seeing any reports out of Des Moines yet? Or anything happening with the Lincoln storms too? We might be bouncing around for a few minutes here until
this radar thing's driving me nuts.
Yeah, technology. It is what it is. We have Des Moines loaded, so I don't know why it's not pinging around here. But yeah, it's definitely tapering off as it's getting into Des Moines. Waukee is starting to taper off as well. So it looks like this is in and out of the city area. I don't know if you're seeing any reports or pictures from Click or media or anything.
It looks like when I went through downtown, it's a lot of pocket change.
Pocket change. All right. And it was high, you said it was high volume before that, right? Based on pictures? Yeah. Yep. All small farming communities south of Highway 20. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's going to stay pretty rural until that storm gets into Waterloo, but we're kind of waiting to see if it does. But for Des Moines, I mean, yeah, looks like it really blew up once it got just to the east of Waukee, and then it started to kind of just hang out in the same area, and as it cooled the environment around it, then it didn't have that energy to continue that updraft speed, and we started to lose that hail size once it slowly tracked into Des Moines. So if you want to maintain that large hail, you need that storm to be in and out pretty quick so it can continue moving through that favorable environment, and this one just didn't. We'll see what this one to its west does, but I don't have better hopes for it. Off to Lincoln, Nebraska, it looks like that storm split and wasn't doing a ton once we bounced off that way. But, you know, we've had a lot of warnings, and it does look like Lincoln is now under a severe thunderstorm warning, so we'll just add that into the mix. Why not? Now these, again, these are isolated cells, and they are moving in a direction where they won't really cut each other off, which is good. But we'll have to see if this can intensify enough once it gets to Lincoln. From watching these two, they haven't really done a ton, and there you go, they dropped the warning on it because they really didn't intensify very much. The most favorable conditions for large hail is up in Iowa right now, but we'll see if these can hang on moving into the Lincoln metro. If you guys are in Nebraska, Lincoln specifically, be aware you guys are now under severe thunderstorm warning. They're warning it for up to 1 inch and 60 miles an hour, so they are including wind as a factor in this one. But if you guys are in Garland, Lincoln, Malcolm, Yankee Hill, you're now in the path of a severe thunderstorm warning that's tracking through the area. So let's go ahead and just pull up correlation coefficient and see if it is dropping hail at all right now. Based on reflectivity and its shape, it doesn't look like it's great for it, but it looks like it might be trying to. You know, seeing hints of a drop in CCs right now, but it doesn't look like it's producing anything severe at this point. You usually like to see those real bright concentrated areas of those yellows and greens, and we just have a scattering of them. It's trying, but it's not doing anything quite yet, so nothing to worry about. At this point, if you guys are in Garland, you guys are out of it. If you guys are in Malcolm, it is headed your way. Probably getting some loud rain right now and starting to hear those rumbles of thunder as well as some gusty winds. Ooh, but it's possible this storm could just skirt right to your south and your west once it gets past you. So there's your hail core starting to form. It's trying to intensify with this storm, and we'll see if it can move quick enough to get into Lincoln and intensify, dropping some severe hail. We'll update you on this one. Waterloo's been moving pretty slowly, and Des Moines looks like it's tapered off. So, I mean, just looking at the whole risk area right now, again, there's been a ton of severe thunderstorms that have been developing across Nebraska, across Iowa, and across even the south part of Minnesota. Can we take a look at the whole setup, Justin?
Yep.
I know you're doing a lot over there. Yeah, so you can see that whole line, and there's this whole low pressure system up to the north. You can actually see it just on the northern end of the tidal bar there. You can see that kind of circular shape, and this whole low is just spinning away and forming all these bands out ahead of it. It's not going to show the far northern part because the radar doesn't reach out that well, but there's the center of the low pulling all these storms up and around it, and as they start to develop along that front, we could start to see that severe weather threat pick up. And again, isolated cells have formed all along that band as expected for this afternoon. And again, highly unstable environment that this low pressure system is barreling right into. So we'll see a quick development in those severe storms. So again, Waterloo and Lincoln are probably the best games in town right now, and just kind of waiting for that Des Moines storm warning to drop. Looks like we've been in and out. And if we get any pictures, Justin, just holler and we'll put those up there as well.
Yeah, we have some.
Oh, do you want?
I don't know if we're in the drive yet.
Okay, yeah, we'll just, whenever they get there, we'll kind of go over those as well for Des Moines, and we may have something to talk about for Lincoln here in the coming minutes. But yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
they dropped the warning for Des Moines. Now it's just Newton. And unfortunately, our radar doesn't go out that far. So we can't really see if it's doing anything crazy. But we were looking at it earlier, and those storms didn't look super promising. So again, if you guys are in Newton, probably a good time to stay tuned to your weather since you are under a severe thunderstorm warning. But the hail threat seems to be tapering off in the central Iowa area. Then up to Waterloo. That storm is going to be another slow mover. Let's see if it's moved at all. It was between Grundy Center and Wellsburg. Still kind of there. So it may have the same story as Des Moines, where it just uses all that energy up in that one spot and then just fizzles out. Still got a hail spike on it and a nice little reflectivity core, but it's not making its way east very quickly. So Waterloo, stay tuned. But it's gonna be highly dependent on if the storm can pick up in speed, and right now it's really not doing much. So severe hail for Wellsburg, or just south of Wellsburg, south of I-20, but again, it looks like we're pretty rural out in that area. So looks like Lincoln is pretty much our only game in town in terms of population being potentially impacted. And it started out Des Moines, now we're moving out to Nebraska, so we could have a couple of different population centers get impacted with hail today with this severe weather system. So storm's starting to move into Omaha, not doing much yet, and we're going to keep an eye on Omaha. But there's that Lincoln storm. Looks like it's trying to split now too. And when you get those splitting storms, I'm a weather nerd, so I'm going to explain stuff to you. But as you get those splitting storms, you usually get that south one that continues in that favorable environment, and where that heat and that humidity is, And then you get that north one continuing off into a less favorable environment. So you'll see it start to taper off. If this splits, then it's likely that the southern end of the cell heading towards Lincoln could maintain intensity. And we'll watch it, but right now that hail core looks like it's, the same or like maybe a little worse than that last frame we saw, but it does look like it's going to skirt to the south and west of Malcolm. So you guys in Malcolm, again, severe thunderstorm, you're going to hear a lot of heavy rain, some lightning, some thunder, maybe some gusty winds, which I would like to see winds on this if you can pull those up. But in terms of hail, probably not a ton. Well, that doesn't look super good. Yeah, not doing a ton. So just hail for our main story out of Lincoln, tracking down to the south and to the east. We'll see if it can move fast enough to get us some severe hail in Lincoln, but this one is also not moving very quick. This whole system seems like it's taking its sweet time. So we'll see. We'll see what can happen with it as it tracks off through the area. Any updates on reports, Justin?
I don't believe so. Give me a second.
Okay.
I didn't see anything on radar scope.
All right, that's fine. Ooh, big old warning there in Nebraska City. I don't know if that's a population center. If it's named, I always assume it is, but I could be wrong. But got some hail off in Nebraska City area.
It's still the same ones.
Yeah.
I think. Is this
Yeah,
one?
I think so.
Oh, that's that same one. Yeah, they're
Yep.
all old. It looks like we do have some pictures in the drive.
Okay. Do you want to throw them up here?
Yeah, give me a second.
And these are all for Des Moines?
Yes.
Okay, tight. Well, let's look at some pictures from Des Moines. See what happened with that short little spurt of severe hail. I guess I'll walk off here so you can key up the photos. I'm gonna get some water if you want to talk about them.
Yeah. I'm trying to find the actual drive. I just see John has added them here. What was it?
Look up map photos.
There we go. Got that. 2002. There's one in August. Oh wait, there it is. Okay, sorry guys. All right, let's see if I can do this without messing it up. I did last time, not even joking. What do I do? I always forget how to do this.
You should cut it to camera 3. And then press, well, it's not cut to camera 3. Hang on.
Told you. Is the 3 all we got? There we go. Sweet.
I mean, I got all the photos that I sent in the chat specifically
Sweet.
for it.
All right, so let's pull up this first one. This one looks like it's at
Did you guys bring up the
2300 Farland Drive.
videos I've been posting in the chat?
coverage chat?
Yeah.
We'll bring this up next.
Yeah, bring them.
This one's going to be, can't read that. It's West Des Moines though. This is Clive. And then we got at Iowa Girls High School. You can see in that photo that it shredded some trees. So definitely high volume storm. Another good storm.
Look at all the
High
hail on the
School.
ground.
Yeah, it was definitely high volume with some large ones mixed in. This one is at near that news 5 station. So I think, again, on the west side of town. Those are what? Are those 2 inches? Some of them, maybe?
It looks like 2 inches, yeah.
And then another one from West Des Moines. So,
Jeez, look at the spikes on those.
so those are what we have right now. Obviously, a pretty impressive storm on the west side of Des Moines.
John said he had a video in our live coverage group that we can pull in and show them as well.
Okay.
And then he also has some more pictures in there if you're able to pull that up on click.
Yeah, 1 second.
That is wild though. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 large hailstones, some of them with some nasty spikes on them. So that's crazy. Man.
I guess we aren't signed in on click on this. Hold on, I gotta sign in.
Oh man, Justin. Yeah, that one picture though had a ton of hail on the ground. You can still see some in the background of that one. A few large stones sitting
Coverage
back behind them.
photos. All right, so I'm gonna move this over here.
Nice.
All right. So these are the ones that we just looked at, but
And then he had a video in there, he said.
yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah. You can see it taking chunks out of trees.
Oh my gosh. I forgot my mic was on.
Definitely a high volume storm. I mean, you can see golf balls, pocket change. I mean, there's all kinds. I mean, you can see those bigger ones that are bouncing in the background.
I know. Holy cow. And what did it say? There was damage to cars in one of the reports, right?
Yeah, busted out windows.
Yeah. That is
Was there
nasty
another one?
hail. In West Des Moines.
All right, now I gotta figure out how to. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, when hail bounces off the ground, I feel like that's a good indicator of some high velocity stuff falling.
Yeah.
That's wild.
All right, then let's see here. Meteorite storm. What?
Looks like there's a good mix in there too.
Yeah. So overall, pretty high volume. Whoa, look at the leaves on that.
I know, jeez.
Another impressive video.
Yeah.
Let's go back. I think there's one more.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
The ones in the pools always make it look crazy impressive.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, for the west side of Des Moines, looks like a pretty impactful storm.
Mm-hmm. You can see the stuff in the chair.
Oh, wow, you can.
Yeah, like, I
And
guess
it tore up
filters
their
out the
tarp.
small hail.
Yeah.
Huh?
It tore up their tarp, it looked like. Should. All right.
Yeah, there you go.
So, lots of pretty impressive videos. Obviously, some impressive pictures.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see if I can do this.
All right. Oh, well.
Nope.
Oh. I'm just gonna, you know.
But this is where I need John.
Do you want me to call him back in?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
I just need to put a post-it note.
Oh, all right, sweet.
I
I'm
always
back.
forgot to hit on. Okay, perfect.
Cool. So
Sorry,
that was
guys.
a good little photo update we had there. I kind of want to see what's going on in Lincoln with this storm. And if it doesn't look like, if it's starting to drop its hail size,
Yeah.
which it looks like it is, then it looks like there's probably not much to cover there. Any other population centers getting hit, or are we kind of winding down here in terms
Yeah, I
of
think we're
coverage?
kind of winding down right now. Why is there a report in Minneapolis?
Is there? Can you click on it?
It's
I guess
probably
it's-
like 0.25 or something.
I don't think we show that small, do we?
0.88.
Ah, nickels. All right, so Minneapolis got some nickels. Nice.
Yeah. I think we can zoom in over that storm over by Waterloo, and then
Mm-hmm.
if nothing else is going on, just wind down. I think
Man, it's
moving.
barely moved.
Yeah.
And look at that, guys. I mean, can you really quick just roll it back and roll it forward, and then I'll be done. But you can see how it just uses its own energy all up. It starts out here, goes up, there's the hail spike, and then it just doesn't move fast enough. It just cools the air, and it can't maintain that updraft, and it cuts itself off. And so that's what's happening with this Waterloo storm. So we may see more of the same. That's what happened with Des Moines. That's what's happening with this Wellsburg storm. And then, you know, with the ones to the west of Lincoln, looks like the same thing happened. So slow moving system. It's been dropping some severe hail as those initial updrafts go up in a super unstable environment, but then, you know, they're cutting themselves off. So, you know, if you guys do have some storms develop over you, be on the lookout. Be on the lookout for those severe warnings. But right now, looks like we're out of population. So, you know, we just looks like we can kind of wind down our coverage here, but we'll go and update you guys again if anything else crazy happens. And yeah, Justin, I mean, I'm like, I guess
cool.
ready to cut to the contact us page if you're ready to.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing really going on, so.
Yeah. So yeah, if you guys want to stay tuned to our page, make sure to follow us on everything. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And then we have a Hail Trace Alerts Twitter.